What's good, my fellow followers? I've been to the first German Downwind Catchup recently, and yeah, I had an absolute blast, made a lot of experiences, saw a lot of equipment, and yeah, thought it's time to share my experience. So on the footage you will see now, we had a day with 25 knots, really different to the conditions I had before, which was like 12 knots maybe, and the day before that we even had 45 knots, which was completely nuts. But yeah, for the 25 knots, still it's so different from something like 12 knots where you barely see white caps. And yeah, even the pedaling out is a real pain. You can see it right here. Even balancing on the boards when the waves get bigger, it's so strange. But yeah, here you can see we went out in a group, and I think I wasn't going out so far on my tries before, and further outside it's getting so much better. But then for standing up, you can see me really struggling with the balance. And I will just put in videos of me riding here, so it's basically one whole one, but I struggled so much with the balance, it's incredible. But then still you can see this takeoff. This was one of the better ones, but in 25 knots the waves have so much more power, and if the timing is right and the balance is right and you pedal at the exact perfect moment, it requires less energy. I mean, this takeoff just had like, I don't know, 5 to 10 strokes maybe, and I felt like on the lighter days it took me something like 20 strokes to accelerate and to get up to speed. So that's one thing which got easier, but the downside was that the balance got so much harder. As in 12 knots, I always looked into the wind and basically against the waves, and then when I saw something good coming, I just turned around and pedaled in. Like, not just and did that, but I tried to. And here it was impossible to look against the wind, so you were basically, if you stood on the board, you were drifting downwind already, which made it really hard to look behind to see if there's something big coming. So yeah, you had to go after the feeling when to pedal, and yeah, this was completely new for me and took a few tries to get it, or to understand it kind of. And what Malte told me was like, wait for the wave behind you to kind of suck you in. So if you pedal forward and you feel the wave behind you has a really strong pull towards it, it's the moment to pedal, and then it should have some power. And also, like, just staying on the water, I had the feeling that mostly when something big goes underneath you, there will be something big behind it. So as soon as I was on top of a big wave, I just started pedaling as hard as I could, just in the hope that behind the hill there would be another one, and it sometimes worked. But yeah, I also spent ages of just trying to stand up and falling in again and falling. So yeah, I would still say the balance is the hardest part. But then once you get it going, I mean, you can see it's gliding, and it's still gliding, and yeah, now I'm pumping, and gliding again. It's such an amazing feeling, as yeah, the speed is unreal. If you get it in a real bump on this day with the 25 knots, it goes so incredibly fast. I think on the GoPro footage it always looks slower and not so intense, but it just feels insane. And yeah, there I could even get a bit playful closer to the shore, and it's just amazing, as I'm still pumping way too much. I mean, this is also a pretty large foil for the conditions, I guess. It's the GONG Veloce XXL, and I pumped it a lot. Also, Kai Steinert told me that I was on the one behind this one, that I was riding in between the waves, not in the wave, like in between, and the wind was pushing me. That's why I kept going. And I also felt like it's too exhausting, because my back leg burned out pretty fast, and this one was about 1 kilometer, and here on this time it took me 3 minutes to get from start to finish. But yeah, it's not so long, 1 kilometer, and still my back leg was yeah, burning a bit, or both legs were burning a bit. And yeah, I think I can go so much more efficient, but I have a real struggle of seeing where the energy is and where the bumps are. Now on this footage, I went out a bit further, and yeah, I tried to join the boys on a longer downwind one and failed as I got stuck on the sandbank, and then yeah, took me like 2.5 hours longer than the rest of the crew to finish. But yeah, no, and I didn't even finish completely. I went out, I think, like 2 kilometers before it was finished. But yeah, here you can see further outside, I felt like the waves were even cleaner and it was more predictable, as yeah, the waves got like more sorted out, and you can see here it's a pretty clear bump line, which made it way easier to see where the power is. But then still, it's like on this one you would have to work your way out to the right side to get past the mole and the sandbank. But I felt it was so hard for me to generate speed and pop off to the side, as yeah, first of all, the water isn't flat as I'm used to, so you have to go off the back of the wave, and yeah, it takes different balance than flat water riding with speed. And then second of all, I was really confused by the wind, because the wind pushed you downwind so hard that it even felt a bit strange to yeah, to ride to the side, as the wind always tried to push you downwind again. But yeah, still it's just an amazing experience. And here you can see me getting stuck on the sandbank, as the white parts over there, it was really flat there. And yeah, the waves lost a lot of the power and looked more like a set wave. And yeah, it was crazy how much the conditions changed, like in the first kilometer of the run, as like outside where I started was clean bumps, and then here it was super mushy. And yeah, at some point I just fell in and had to swim out again to get into the point where the waves were a bit more controlled. But here it ended up being a pump fest. And yeah, I would still say that I had 3 days over there in Fehmarn. It was an amazing time, and I hope that I find the time to make some more videos with all the footage I got, as I learned a lot. And the last day especially had like 15 knots, and I had such a blast. So yeah, I really have to make some videos of that.